Welcome back. It's another episode of Butt Crack Cycles. My name's Paul. If you're just tuning in here for the very first time, this is my YouTube channel. It's mostly about old Harleys, and today we're working on the oldest bike in my personal fleet, which is my shovelhead. It is that orange bike right back there, tucked into my little building, and today the rooster's going to be extra annoying. I can already tell. And we're working on some transmission stuff. So I'm going to turn the camera around. Let's get right to work. And real fast, before we get too far into this episode, just wanted to do a little quick shameless self-promotion. I have a new t-shirt design out. Iron On. This is a kind of a rip-off of an old, or redo, however you want to look at it, of an old 70s Easy Rider actual Iron On shirt decal. But obviously it is an iron head engine. I thought that that'd be pretty cool to redo as a shirt, and I just left the Iron On verbiage in it because to me it's like, hell yeah, Iron On. Old iron, old cast iron, you know, shovels, iron heads, pan heads, knuckle heads, all that stuff to the front forever. Keep it on the road. If you want to support this channel, you can grab this shirt and all my other shirts and some other merchandise and parts and such in the web store, buttcrackcycles.com. As always, this shirt, like all of my own shirts, are printed on Made in USA shirts. Alright, thanks for watching. Thanks for buying the shirts if you do. Alright, so there's the transmission out of that bike. I pulled this transmission out of the bike months ago. It was back in, I think, late October, early November. It's now the end of April as I'm filming this. And you can see that the top plate is off of it. Everything inside of the transmission, all the gears and shafts and everything, all seems fine. And that's not why I took this apart. I took this apart because the top plate, the actual ratchet mechanism, all the bushings and such, and where the shifter goes on, had a ton of slop and play in it. And so we're going to put that back together today and throw this back in the bike. If you can ignore all of the chickens in the background, I'm going to start with just getting the silicone off of here. Whoever had this top plate off last didn't use a gasket. They just siliconed it together, which I guess is okay. I'm not a big fan of silicone though. People tend to go heavy-handed with it, and it'll kind of glob up when you put it together, and you end up with silicone in places it shouldn't be. And silicone is really good at clogging up oil passages and holes and stuff like that. So we're gonna put a gasket on this when we put it back together, but for now take a few minutes and just get it nice and clean. All right, so we got the top of the transmission all cleaned up, new gasket put on, and I want to take just a second and talk about the actual shifter top here for just 1 minute. So this isn't actually the top box that came out of this transmission. This one right here is, and it needed this bushing replaced. It basically needed all the bushings inside of it replaced. Everything in this bag is, not everything is junk, but a whole lot of it is. This all the parts that I took out. And I started tallying up the price of what replacing everything in this bag was going to cost me. And the only parts I could find were aftermarket parts, like V-twin stuff, which is okay sometimes, but not what I wanted for this. And ended up finding this that had been serviced with actual Harley parts years ago by an old timer at a swap meet. He said he'd taken it apart, gone through it, it sat on the shelf as a spare for his bike, and then he sold the bike and needed to sell this too. So I bought this for less than what all the cheap Chinese aftermarket parts would have cost me. And it seems like, you know, that seems smooth. This kind of play in and out that the other one had a ton of is way better, and it shifts through, you know, all of the gears. Shifts well. So we're just gonna put this on there and hope for the best.
So it's important to note, as you look at all of these bolts that go in the transmission, they're not all the same. There are 3 bolts that are different from the rest. The first are these 2 long ones, and I'll show you where they go. They go right here behind the hump of the actual shifter. And then there's this bolt, which is the vented bolt. Let's zoom up on that a little. You see it has a hole through it and little holes up there at the top. That has its own special place it goes. It's right here on the right side of the shifter top by that dowel pin. It goes right in that hole. The last thing we're going to do is put a little bit of blue Loctite on all of these bolts before we install them, and then put them all where they go and tighten them up.
Alright, so the shifter cover's on, all the bolts are tight. Like I said, a little bit of Loctite on them. And that brings us to our next couple of things that we need to do. The first is, this is the old speedometer cable. It was like this when I bought the bike. It was just cut in half. And I've never worried about it, but I want to pull that out. And let me move my shop manual. Yes, I'm using a factory shop manual. Highly recommend you do too. I will note on that, the shop manual does say to put gasket sealer on this gasket, but I just put it on dry. I don't really see why you need it. I might be wrong. But I'm going to pull this out next. And put this little rubber James block off the plate. There's part number if you want one. And here's my first screw up of the day. I should have done that before I put the top plate on. What an idiot. What an idiot. See, it's runs right into the shifter plate. Crisis averted. I just put some vice grips on that, set of channel locks, and screwed this top part off. I think crisis averted, maybe not. God almighty. Thought I was onto something there. Oh, maybe I am. I am. Look at me go. Okay. So there's our speedometer drive gear. Removed. And the block-off plate installed. Okay, next up is I want to deal with this sprocket. You can see I can hold this sprocket nut. This nut isn't actually tight on the main shaft, and it was like that when I took that apart. I'm hoping I don't find any nasty surprises under here. And the sprocket itself is, these teeth are really, really, really sharp. Alright, so I found an extra drive chain laying around in the shop. Tried to kind of use it as a wedge. Got the main shaft sprocket tool. The shop manual says this is left-hand thread, so backwards. I'm gonna try and whack it with the impact wrench, and hopefully between the impact and this drive chain wedged in there, it comes off. Well, that was pretty easy. And the threads on the nut, this isn't going to come through well on camera. Those look okay too. I kind of wonder if whoever put this on last just didn't tighten it down all the way. Take this lock tab off. Get our wedge out. Pull the sprocket off. Yeah, y'all can see the sprocket has seen better days. You see how sharp those teeth are on it, and many of them are kind of rolled over. Again, this might not come through entirely well on camera. Look at that.
Would you look at that?
Versus that, that's a brand new one. I think this is from Colony Transmission. This is not like some V-twin Chinese crap. See it right there, made in USA. Try and buy good parts when I can. I lied, that was a PBI sprocket, found the box. 22 tooth, just like what come off. Looks like you gotta have a whole bunch of tools to do this. I probably could just put some self-tapping screws in it and yank it out. Alright, so I got thinking about this and I took my gloves off and I started doing some reading. And I found a few posts on some old forums where guys were like, yeah, just put self-tapping screws through it and take it out with a pry bar, which is how I would do a seal anyways. Looking at this, I don't know that I necessarily need some special tool to center it all up, so I think that's what I'm going to try. Past the point of no return now. Seals out of it. I did that off camera. It was kind of being a pain in the butt and the camera was in the way, but putting the holes through it, I was able to yank it out of there. This is the spacer that was back inside of there. I'm going to replace this too, and I found a product called Ray's Magic Spacer that he machines one of these for an O-ring, and then you put it in there. It has an O-ring seal. You put your regular seal back in, you put your sprocket back on, and then a nut. And a lot of people are saying that between the like a Vuitton O-ring seal here and a super nut on the outside, that makes for like a leak-free transmission on one of these. I'm not crazy about this stub shaft. It does have some, the threads don't look exactly the best, but there's in order to take this out, you have to take all of these roller bearings out, and you got to push this shaft in through the back. It goes into the case to come out, so I'd have to take the top plate back off and take everything out of this transmission. I actually probably think this will be fine if it'll torque, and I bet it will. So we're gonna order some parts. Okay, so before I order this seal, my phone's probably not going to show through with the glare. This Ray guy says that there's 4 different diameters of these spacers that you could possibly have, and so he has to have the right information before he can give you the right one. You can find him on eBay. I'll pull his username up here in a minute, but let's measure this first. The first measurement that he wants is the outside diameter of right here, so where the inside diameter of that oil seal rides, and it's hard to do one-handed. 1.76, 1 point something in that neighborhood. I don't have it quite square. About like that. 1.7520. So our options for measurements of these spacers are 1.750, 1.750, 1.875, and 2.063, 2.063. So we have the 1.750, which is either going to be 1941 to early 77 or 77 to 79. I was figuring we were going to be the 41 to 77 anyways. This is a 71 transmission. The second number that he wants is the overall thickness, which is just this measurement right here, which is 0.5825 roughly, and he calls out 0.580 is the same one that goes with that 41 to early 77. OEM part number is 35171-37. And so the whole reason I'm throwing that in there, and I'm going to put his eBay username up on the screen right here. The whole reason I'm putting that in there is because I'm sure somebody's going to ask me, even though I don't even have the part in my hand, someone's going to want to know, where are you getting this part from? I actually had a hard time finding this. I found references to him in forum posts and such, but nobody actually had a link. And then finally someone had an email address, and they're like, or you can find him on eBay. And you go to the eBay, and he don't want to say he sounds grumpy. He just sounds frustrated, which I get, is that people are ordering these spacers from him without giving him any information as to which exact spacer they need. So take the time, measure your stuff, make sure, don't trust that just because your bike is a such and such year that you have a such and such spacer. A lot of times on these old Harleys, parts get mixed and matched. My bike has parts on it from like 4 or 5 different years. And so yeah, so I'm gonna walk back in the house, get on the computer, order some parts, and that's kind of where we're gonna wrap this episode up. I normally like to sort of finish an episode up like with a nice, neat package. We started here, we did this, we ended here, and give you, you know, a fixed, running, complete motorcycle at the end of each video, but that's not life. That's not how it goes. So often you start a project and it kind of snowballs, and you find something that's wrong, and then you find something else that's wrong, and then you fix one thing, and now you're fixing something else, and that's how a lot of times these old motorcycles are. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to order a main shaft spacer. I'm going to get that Ray's Magic one that has the O-ring machined into it. I'm going to order a new seal, and I'm going to order a super nut. I bet between replacing all that, we'll have a good leak-free transmission. Fingers crossed that the threads on that little stub shaft in there are okay enough to take the torque. This sprocket nut torques to like 140 foot-pounds. I guess we'll find out. If not, then we're going to drop back and punt, and I guess I'm taking this apart again even further. Last thing y'all might have noticed if you're a really sharp-eyed viewer, that top plate that I put on that shifter cover has a small crack in it. I knew it when I bought it. If you flip it over, it's obvious someone has TIG welded that back together, and it looks like they've done a good job and gotten good penetration. And the bottom of that shift cover is all in one piece and is square and flat, so it should be leak-free, even though there is still that little bit of a crack remaining on the top side. I might put a little skim coat of JB Weld or something over top of that. I might just try it the way it is, but I'm sure somebody will notice that and leave a comment. I just wanted to address it. Yeah, I know about it. Yeah, it's not perfect, but at the very least, I do have another spare cover that I can always move parts from one into the other at a future date and time if that ends up being an issue. So I hate to do stuff twice. I might end up doing stuff twice. Alright, that's it. This outro is probably going to be really cut up with lots of edits because the rooster will not stop crowing. So I'm going to stop talking before I go put a bullet in the rooster because he's driving me insane. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all on the next episode. Bye.